You humans, you decay, you age, and you die. You can spend the rest of your life with me, but I can't spend the rest of my life with you. It's the curse of the Time Lords. Happy Doctor Who Day, everyone. I just want to thank the BBC for blocking my actual awesome Happy Doctor Who Day video just because I had some Doctor Who trailers running behind me on mute. How small-minded and how against the spirit of the day, because what I'm not going to do today is be negative about current Doctor Who. What I want to do is do a short little video where I'm glowing about why I love this character and how I fell in love with this character that's been going since 1963. Do you want to know something? I haven't seen every single Doctor Who episode ever made. Now, I've seen the very first ever Doctor Who episode, which isn't Rose, by the way, for those of you who don't know that. It's Mr. William Hartnell as the Doctor in 1963. I love the episode. I love how Susan's represented. Bill Hartnell is an absolute bastard Doctor, isn't he? But this is what the Doctor is. And everyone who's played the Doctor, including Jodie, has made the Doctor a contradiction in terms. The Doctor isn't Superman. The Doctor can be hurt. He or she has flesh that can be dented and wounded. But also, this character can be selfish, bad, dark, funny, lie. As I say, it's the various emotions and the contradictions in terms of this character. So how was I introduced to Doctor Who? Well, a lot of you who are my age, I'm 48, had 3 or 4 channels to play with back then. The TVs used to press the channel in, right? So anyway, I was going through the 4 channels. I pressed channel 1 and I saw Tom Baker. He was fighting the Master, Anthony Ainsley's Master. So this is my first introduction to Doctor Who. So I see Baker's Doctor fall to the ground. They do the whole amazing thing with the Watcher. And back then that was quite good and quite interesting, and the effects were, back then it looked amazing. And so I see Baker become Davison. So Davison becomes the 5th Doctor. So I'm quite intrigued by this Doctor Who show that I know nothing about. So I really get into Peter Davison's Doctor. I'm obsessed. I'm recording every episode that's on. I'm going back repeatedly watching those cliffhangers, trying to work out what will happen next. But I think the first moment I was captivated by Doctor Who and the 5th Doctor is when someone comes up to me and says, "Who are you?" "Well, I'm the Doctor." "A doctor of what?" "Well, I'm a doctor of everything." Are you freaking kidding me? This geezer is a doctor of everything. And the way Peter, does that dialogue, you believe it. If he's a doctor of everything, imagine how clever he is. He must know nearly everything. And of course, the Doctor doesn't. There's a lot of things the Doctor doesn't know. And of course, this is one of the reasons he travels, because he wants to keep on learning. But he's a doctor of everything. He knows. He has knowledge. He's been alive for so many years. Now, by Peter's Doctor, I don't know how many years the Doctor had been alive. By Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, it was about 900 years, was it? And who knows how many thousands of years by Jodie's Doctor's time, and the Doctor's been alive. But who knows? Was it 300? I don't know. Someone can tell me in the comments down below. So that piece of dialogue, that I'm the Doctor of everything, it was that moment that not only I was obsessed with Doctor Who, but I wanted to play Doctor Who. Actually, several years ago, I got myself blocked by Mr. Mark Gatiss because I kept on tagging him on Twitter with my YouTube Doctor Who amateur auditions, and I just think he got so pissed off with me in the end he blocked me. So, Mark, if you're seeing this video, please unblock me. I mean you no harm. No more auditions, but I've always wanted to play the Doctor because I think for any actor, this is the pivotal role. Now, people say, well, it's not Shakespeare, Nick. Why do you say that? Well, I say that because, this is the Doctor's 57th year since 1963. And don't forget, the Doctor's never stopped being broadcast either on audio or on TV. We know he had the break after Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, but Big Finish was still going and flying the flag beautifully for Doctor Who. So the Doctor's always been around in some type of media. But I just think he's like clay. He or she, sorry, because I don't want to offend Jodie Whittaker. He or she has always been a character that you can mould as an actor. That's why I don't want to go into the negativity of the modern series, but one of the things that shocked me, that Jodie hasn't been allowed to mould her own Doctor like all the other actors have done. That's disappointing. That's saying you can only lay at Chris Chibnall's door, and hopefully he realises he's doing his actor a disservice. But I've always seen the Doctor as a character that you can mould like clay. So let's say the dream happened. I mean, I am a fully trained actor. I did go to RADA. So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say you saw me delivering those lines. Not particularly great actor, but I'm just saying I'd love the opportunity to play the Doctor, even on an amateur level. But I just think if I played the Doctor, I mean, I don't really know what I would do with him. I think one, he'd be a him because he'd be played by me, who's a guy, right? But, yeah. I mean, I think the first thing you've got to do as with the Doctor is put elements of yourself in it. And I think David Tennant did that to a point. I mean, he puts on the posh, Eton English accent, which all the other actors, apart from a couple, have really done that. And Jodie Whittaker's Doctor hasn't got that posh accent. Nor did Christopher Eccleston and Jodie Whittaker, I think, are the ones who kind of said, no, this is my accent. We're from up north, end of story. And that's fair enough. As I say, you put parts of yourself into this character, which makes the character more fascinating. Tragically and sadly, Jodie hasn't been allowed to do that because as an actor, I'm sure she would gobble that up. And she would be such a more improved Doctor if she was allowed to mould the personality, at least, of her Doctor. Because I think that comes with all the other actors. You see, they mould it. You see pieces of them inside of them. It's beautiful. So I feel as an actor, it will be just a dream to play this contradiction in terms. He or she is an alien from another planet who runs away from his home world, or what we thought was his home world, his or hers home world. I apologise again. It's confusing, right? I forget, right? But so I'm not trying to be sexist or doing it on purpose or offend anyone. I just forget. But anyway, because he was a man for so many years, so it's hard, isn't it? But anyway, and no problem with the Doctor being female. So runs away from what he or she thought was his home and decides to travel around the world. And that's a brilliant thing. And he's basically like Zorro or David Janssen's The Fugitive, if you remember that show, or the littlest hobo who travels from place to place and finds people in trouble and tries to help them. But he's the Doctor. He or she's the Doctor. And it's always done. The hero stuff's done in the Doctor way. And it depends on what actors played the Doctor on how it's done. And the reason you have the companion is to have that kind of audience view. The companion really is a member of the audience. Who are you? I'm the Doctor. For Doctor Who? That's your name then. As Billy's companion said, that's your name, just the Doctor. Doctor Who? Because to an ordinary human being, especially someone from a working class background, who do you think you are calling yourself the Doctor? Martha called him out on it as well. I'm the Doctor. Well, so will I. If I pass my medical exams, I believe that title means something. That's what Martha says. Great companion, by the way, despite what Billy's fans say. So today, the Doctor is 57 years old, and there's this beautiful history. Because believe it or not, Jodie's Doctor has got quite a few fans, whether people want to believe that or not. And for me, every showrunner since Verity's time in Doctor Who, it's like a comic book run. You do it, it's your version, it's your era, then you move on, and then it's somebody else's turn. You either like it or you don't. That's why talking today, even when I think of Jodie and Chris Chibnall, I think it's just a run. You either take it or you leave it. I actually think the Timeless Children, the Timeless Child arc is quite interesting. And because it's a storyline and an arc that's only just started, for me personally, I can't judge it. until I see it. I don't believe Jodie's doctor is the timeless child. I believe the master corrupted the Matrix. That's it. I had to think of Keanu Reeves' Matrix and I thought of the name. But yeah, I think the master or some other entity corrupted the Matrix. It may not have been the master. Someone may have got there first. So that's interesting. And Chris Chibnall's interesting because when we met Joe Martin's doctor, he said, she's definitely the doctor. And he said it point blank. But he's never said this about the timeless child. He hasn't come out and said, right, Jodie Whittaker is definitely the timeless child, which makes you think, doesn't it? On this 57th year-old birthday of Doctor Who, that if she's not the timeless child, who is? Could it be the master? Could the master have found out he's the timeless child? But he was so battered psychologically, he diverted that concept to the doctor. Who knows? Maybe he blatantly lied to the doctor to punish her because he didn't want to deal with it. Maybe that's why he really destroyed Gallifrey, because he found out what they did to him. Now, he claims it's because of the doctor. In a way, he's jealous that the doctor has this story, has these origins. He wants to have this power. He wants to be the original Time Lord. He wants to play the victim. So maybe he's telling the truth. So I think it's an interesting storyline. And I think the finale, I enjoyed the finale. There's elements of it where you could say, oh, this and that maybe could have been done better. But I think it's okay. And I know a lot of you are shouting at me right now saying, it's all about opinions, isn't it? Now, one of the criticisms, and I did say I wouldn't be negative, but I'm kind of leading myself into this. One of the problems with Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who is it lacks warmth and personality. I don't mind the identity politics. I don't mind, going into historical things because that's what Doctor Who's always done. If that's what he feels is important, he should cover it. But it's always got to be done with entertainment in mind. And I think that's what's been lacking. Now, we all know that Jack is coming. Captain Jack Harkness is going to be in the Christmas special. And I've also predicted for a long time on this channel that he will be a full-time companion with Yaz and the Doctor in season 13. I think he's staying there for the foreseeable, or at least for this next season. I think they need something to kind of inject some enthusiasm from the people who have walked away or who are frustrated with the show. Because unlike me, there's a lot of people who don't like the Timeless Child arc or reveal. And I respect that. I respect you. You are entitled to that feeling. But I still think the show has got a future. I'm still excited to find out about the Timeless Child arc. It's a fascinating character, a fascinating series. With all this talk of identity politics, isn't it ironic that actually Verity Lambert was the first producer of this show, that Verity Lambert created this show? Now, I know the American guy, and I forget his name now, was the one who said, I want to do a sci-fi show about... Basically, one of the things I've never understood, why the opening titles of The Doctor doesn't say created by Verity Lambert and the other guy. I can't remember the guy's name. You know who I mean, right? I'm sure I'll remember the name once this video is over. We've never had an official, created by. And I think Verity Lambert absolutely deserves that. As I say, it's interesting talking about identity politics and people saying women weren't given too many big roles. But Verity was. Verity ran the show for a little while. She basically created the show. She was amazing. And to think that people don't mention that when they talk about women's roles in television is absolutely amazing to me. So that's something that Doctor Who accomplished from day one. But the show is unique, and you either love it or you hate it. I think it's a geek's and a nerd's wet dream. It's about this guy or woman called the Doctor, travelling through space and time, having adventures, with all this history, with all these monsters. It started off as a bit of a horror film, if you like. The Doctor was because in the very first Doctor Who episode, we don't see him for ages. He's not the main character. It's really about Susan. So even back then, they were making the companion part of the opening introduction, which is kind of interesting. Listen, I could talk about Doctor Who all day. It's a fabulous show. I will be part of the watch along on Twitter with the official BBC Doctor Who Twitter account. I will be there. I will be part of that. I will be watching it. 7 o'clock GMB or GMT, should I say. 9 o'clock Cyprus time, which is where I am. So yes, I think even though with all the division and the divisiveness and all of that, 57 years, for it to still be on the telly and still to have audio dramas, I'd say Doctor Who is in pretty good shape. And if you don't like this iteration, there'll be the next iteration very soon. So hold tight, get in your TARDIS, and always remember, there's a version of the Doctor that you love. You've probably got the Blu-ray or DVD in your wardrobe. So if you don't like the current iteration, go back to the Doctor Who you loved. Happy birthday, Doctor Who, 57 years old. You don't look a day over 20. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. See you again soon.